You know that's what we say all the time. New year, new you. It is January 2018. And I am here with you again another year working with CAN TV on we call it the Health Call-In Live Show, Health Equity Call-In Live Show. I know there's another title there, but we're calling it the Health Equity Call-In Live Show, where I'm with Tacts, the Association of Clinical Trial Services, and I am your hostess with the most, Sister Yaa Simpson, community epidemiologist working with Tacts. As well as we have on our call-in live, our phones are manned by our own community counselor, Mr. Charles Patton, who is the Vice President of Tacts, the Association of Clinical Trial Services, as well as flow photographies and videos and all kind of other counseling modalities, including that with especially substance abuse and family violence. So he covers a lot and helping our communities to be more informed and also to find solutions to making ourselves better in this world today. I'm excited, you all, because it is 2/18, and I want to first of all thank all the people who followed us for last year in 2016, and even those who've probably seen me on different various shows in the past, but we're going to be talking about a year in review, and I want to thank you all for doing that. We've had some callers. As you can tell, this is a call-in live show, and it's 312-738-1069. I'm sorry, 60, excuse me. I said 6960. But this call-in live show, what we are doing here with Tacts is making sure that we are bringing the science to the people. What we're trying to do with Tacts, as you can see, the Association of Clinical Trial Services, is make sure that we are telling you all what the science is all about, especially as it refers to clinical trials research and diversity. And these are just a couple logos of our different supporters. Of course, we have our Men and Women's Prison Ministry, AFS, AHF, and National Black Agenda Consortium. So CFAR, Center for AIDS Research. So these are some of the people that have been part of our aspects of support. You also want to make sure that I have the www.cantv.org, I think /hotline. I hope that's the right one. We're just trying to make sure that even if you don't have different, with all this newfangled TV where you could use a stick or get Hulu and all of that different things, you also can access this program right on the web, straight through. Just type in cantv.org, look for your live TV, and you right there. How simple does it get? And once a month on Wednesday evenings for the Health Call-In Live, Health Equity Call-In Live, you can catch yours truly, Sister Yaa Simpson. So we just wanted to make sure that we told you one of our biggest components for Tacts is this concept that we're using, and you heard me just say it, health equity. Now, what is health equity? You see the two pictures? Okay, so you see three figures if you can, right? And on one, equality means the people in the three figures all have the same box. But equity means that the people who need the most boxes or the most resources get what they need. So we promote health equity, not that we don't want equality. Equality will come when equity is assured. Equality will come when equity is assured. Meaning that when people get the right resources that they need, then equality will find them in the right places that they need to be. And right now, things are in such disarray that as we talk about, people use the term, I don't, health disparities, because I'm tired of being despaired, dismayed, and disavowed, and just dismissed. I'm just tired of being dissed. When we talk about those disparities, we're really saying people are not equitable. We're really saying is inequities. So I tend to ask for what I want. I don't want inequities. I don't want disparities. I want equity. Health equity. I want equity in everything, whether it's health, housing, financial. We all want equity. But the point being today is health equity. So Tacts is on this real construct that we are teaching. Every episode you see from us is always going to have this triangle, this health equity triangle. Look at that triangle. What's in the middle? What's in the middle is health equity. What's around those other three green dots, right? The three green circles. Policy change, institutional change, and what? Community capacity building. What do I mean by community capacity building? As you saw in that triangle, there are the several parts: policy, institutions, and then there's the what? Community capacity building. That's you. That means, does the community take on its responsibilities to make themselves better? I am doing my best not to make it individualized. All those individuals, families, and groups are within that. But then we get from individual family groups till we get up to what? Community. And within community, we're looking at community level, as we would call it, community level interventions. In other words, how are we bringing the community's responsibility into play? And we have to. You cannot expect policy, as you have witnessed, and you cannot expect just institutions, as we are clear, historically speaking, to do our bidding for us. We have to be a part of that triangle, or otherwise it doesn't work. That's why this show, this Health Equity Call-In Live show, is always going to push the construct, if you will. This is the paradigm for those academics, right? That was a GRE word, of health equity. We are asking for what it is we want. Now, I want to bring your attention to you about something we did called the Year in Review. So here you have a list of things that happened in 2016. I call it the Year in Review. Let's just go through those topics real quickly. One of the topics, as you saw, is in bold. The 2017 Ann Dunmore Health Advocate of the Year, HIV advocacy. That was me, y'all. I actually won the award. I was very happy. I was honored by the South Side or South Suburbs Health Coalition that was started by Ann Dunmore and now is being taken further by Deborah. Deborah has done a great job in keeping it afloat, and there are a host of people that are involved with it, but Deborah's the chairperson right now, and I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate, I don't know if she's watching this or not, but I just want her to know that I appreciate her. I appreciate the committee that chose me, and I appreciate the people that supported me. We had, of course, Charles Patton, the People's Council, was in the house, and some of my older colleagues, Sanford Gaylord, Sherman Bryant, Reverend Green was such a support, and so was my friend Bruce Edwards. I'm just throwing that out there because I'm giving them their flowers now. And not to mention, guess what? I knew Ann Dunmore. So the person that the award was named after has made her transition some years back due to complications from HIV. However, she was a mighty warrior. She was steadfast and unmovable, and she was a shaker, honey. She shook it up on the South Suburbs and made sure that their voices were heard. She spoke power, or she spoke to power. She spoke that truth, and she spoke it so well that they had to read to her and help her to make sure that her coalition strived and survived. And it is still going on to this day. And I knew Ann, because Ann called me on the phone and would be like, give me my data, honey. You better help me out. And she wasn't asking, she was telling. But more importantly, she was my friend and my sister wife. She used to always say that we had to share my husband. I was like, well, girl, there's plenty of them. Okay, I know that was a trip. But no problem. I didn't mind. And the reason I didn't mind is because she was good people. So that happened in December. I was given that award, I think it was about December 5th or so. I forget the exact date, but nevertheless, I was given that award, that honor, and I am stoked about it. I'm pleased about it, and I'm grateful about it. And I've gotten, I've gotten several awards in the past, and I don't belittle any of them. Pathfinders also gave me an award. Let me make sure I bring up Miss Bernetta Howe. Yes, Miss Bernetta, Pearson Howe, she's also a giant in this community, and she also gave me an award from her organization, which is called Pathfinders, and she's been around a long time, a heavy advocate of the Harold Washington regime when he was in office. But Bernetta Pearson Howe was definitely in my corner, and she also gave me an honor as well for Healthcare Advocate of the Year, or award similar to that. So guess what, y'all? I was jamming in December, right? And then I happened to be with the Veterans Association, who now has officially have a smoke-free zone throughout all their facilities at the Jesse Brown Veterans Association Veteran Medical Center. And I was also there for that honoring. So, y'all, I was busy in December, honey. And I am so pleased to have been a part of that. And being a veteran myself, I was given a lot of platitude to talk about how the health department supports their initiative and being health, of course, smoke-free. So that's one of the bigger concepts that I would like to share with you all that happened in the year review. But let's also look at the other ones. There was the opiate use, where you all have heard us. Actually, this was led by our community counselor, Mr. Charles Patton, who you can call in live to and talk to if you're ready. He talked about the opiate use, the policy implications, and we're going to return back to that concept. We also did CDC vital signs in African Americans. The CDC vital signs data sheet was really about where are African Americans' health overall nationally. And what they found is that African Americans are developing what we're calling chronic diseases, right? Not acute, but chronic diseases at earlier ages. So the diseases that one would get, like asthma or rheumatoid arthritis, old diseases, heart attacks for sure. And I'm in that boat as well, but diseases that usually people who are much older, 45, 50, and 60 get, African Americans are getting the exact same diseases at 20 and 30 years old. So although life expectancy for African Americans has increased among those who are older than 65, so people who make it past 65 are now living longer. Right? That's a new thing that you all probably didn't know. But what unfortunately has happened is they're not living to 65. So what's the push? Make it to 65 and then you'll live longer. But unfortunately, younger people nowadays aren't living to 65. So as life expectancy is one of those health indices that is measurable across all health ailments, but whether you're in Chicago or you're in Japan, that's a health index that crosses all globally, all health. When we talk about health indices, is one of the indices that everybody shares in common. Is called life expectancy. And we use that to talk about how well are you living? How's your health? Are you doing okay? And that particular index, as I've said before, for African Americans are doing better. However, it's a different age categories. So you need to make it to 65 to get the best health possible. And overall, I believe, I have to say, for the city of Chicago, the average life expectancy is around, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say is 78, and I think blacks are as high as around 77, 78. Black men are living a little longer than they've had before, a little bit closer, but still white females actually outlive everyone as they've have done in the past. So we're catching up, but not to the point that we need to. I think blacks are at 73. Excuse me, but I'm also going to be able to talk later on about the what we call the Chicago Health Atlas. I'll probably give you all a snippet about that in the future, but that's where you'll find all those statistics. If you want to find them now, you are more than welcome to go to the web and just Google Chicago Health Atlas, www.chicagohealthatlas. Just put in chicagohealthatlas.org. It'll come right up and go through it. I'm going to actually give you all a little tutorial on that in maybe a couple of months coming up. But that's one of the things that you can look up, health indices, and more importantly, what are the measures of life expectancy? What are some of the health indexes that we're using? What's a hardship health indicator? If you all don't know these things, hey, that's what your community epidemiologist is for. I will help you with those. So those are some of the things that you can look up. Getting back to the list, let's look at the list again. And we talked about the opiate and policy implications. I just referred to the CDC's, and you can go and find this yourself. Vital signs to African American health. But now there were some other things that happened. Do you see that? The 7th Annual Women's Healthcare Networking Social. That is my signature piece, if we call it. Tacts always, and we will again. Every May, I think the week just before Mother's Day is called the National Women's Health Week. In that health week, we celebrate. So not Women's Health Month. Women's Health Week is always in May, like the week or a couple of days before Mother's Day. We talk about the health of women. I use that week to network, because your network is your net worth, okay? And if you're not networking, you don't have no net worth, honey. But what we are doing is bringing women who are in the field of healthcare, if you will. I mean, it's very generalizable. It's very open. It's not a closed type of deal. But we have brought together so many women, and we honor those women because of what they're doing in their communities. One of the honors that we call it is the Henrietta Lacks award for those women who have contributed and who have given back to their community at various levels. We're not talking about just did they hand them $100. We're talking about the women got out there, and like we've had women who worked on research projects. We've had women who've opened their own healthcare businesses. We honored a lady who had a health facility named after her, and she was one of our elder Latina sisters. This was a wonderful to meet her. She was a living legend right here in the city of Chicago, and I wanted to really extol and uplift her because of all the work she had done to make sure that not just Latinas and Latinos were pushing and getting better healthcare. She actually was invested in making sure that blacks were getting the same treatment. And I gotta respect that. So people like her, I'm sorry I can't remember her name. I don't want to say her name wrong right now, but I want to just make sure that that's the kind of women that we are honoring. We had Deborah was one of our women we were honoring, and guess what we also do? We also honor, you ready for this? We honor transgendered women. Yes, we're one of the first agencies to have a women's social, and we include transgender women in the concept of women's social. This is unprecedented, but we've had for the past, 4 years, I believe it is, we've had transgender women, and last year we had a dynamic sister, honey. She was fabulous, and when I mean fab, she was young, she was strong, and guess what? She was beautiful. She was pretty. And I mean, not that should matter, but even I'm looking at it, this woman was very nice looking, and more importantly, convincingly, unapologetically, she was open about her transgender status, and she was living her life like it was golden. That's why we honored her. She was actually very instrumental in making sure that PrEP was that's a pre-exposed prophylaxis for prevention of HIV. She was one of the advocates for that for her age group, and she worked at the AIDS Foundation of Chicago, and we honored her as well. So we had some dynamic sisters. Of course, Monday Mingles with Miss Gina Lamar was on the house, right? Monday Mingles, if you don't know, is where they get together in one of the lounges I think it was once a month on a Monday, and they would deal with STI and HIV education in the lounge. Because you know why? Because that's why them people was coming up to that lounge on a Monday night. Everybody wasn't just coming in just to wet their whistle. They was trying to wet their whistle. If you know what I mean. And so Gina Lamar actually ran that, and we honored her for doing that just as well. So guys, we got a lot of people that we're going to have to think and talk about, but I want to finish this concept of what we're working with. If we could just look at that again, our year review, we worked also on the health equity unity, we call it emotion, healthcare campaign. We talked about health insurance 101, and we're going to have to deal with that again. We also dealt with the National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, which is always in February 7th. And of course, we said 217, so you know you better get ready for 218. And the healthcare.gov, where you can find the rate and review your information about your health insurance. So those were the things that we did with our year review. And let me just spend a little bit of time, and if you want to call in live for more information, call 312-738-1060, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. But let me just talk to you a little bit about the what you just saw. I'll give you a much more closer look at this. This is our health equity equal Black unity emotion. Unity means emotion in Kiswahili. Or emotion means unity in Kiswahili, healthcare campaign. As you can see, this is a long title, but our health equity equals Black unity. Healthcare campaign is sponsored by two groups, mainly Tacts, the Association of Clinical Trial Services, and the National Black Agenda Consortium, which is a group that I work with, who has built a platform for having a Black agenda. A national Black agenda, even though the people who built it are here in the city of Chicago. So it's the duality of having, local representation for sure, but we extrapolate to the national voice as well. So we're, because we're here, we have to do local politics, and we also extrapolate to national politics. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because myself, I am on the board for the National Black Agenda Consortium. And what I do for them is the health and wellness piece. That's the piece that I wrote. If you like, you could go to the website and look it right up. It's the National Black Agenda Consortium, as spelled.org. You type National Black Agenda Consortium, you'll get us. And the piece that I wrote for health and wellness is in the contents of health and wellness. It's a whole booklet, and it's powerful. And really, we want to make sure that people know that, of course, is when we say National Black Agenda, we're saying that we actually know what we want and how we want to do it and who we want to do it. I mean, we're not confused, even if other people are. So I just wanted you all to know that we'll be talking about that a little bit more in future topics. In fact, let me show you very quickly in these last few minutes that after that, healthcare agenda that we're taking on with our National Black Agenda Consortium, the future topics that we're going to have here for CAN TV, we're going to definitely still do an update on clinical trials, what's new. I actually just read about a new injectable HIV medication is coming out and how it's being used for 1 month to bi-monthly usage only. No more pills, y'all. That's hot. Opiate use, we're still going to go back to it. Health insurance companies, we still need to deal with health policy, and that's so hard, especially in our national, where we are nationally. It's very hard to talk about policies when you have people who can't even understand the word policy. But I digress. The pharmaceutical companies, we are going to take them on, and more importantly, I need to tell y'all we gonna get into new things this year. Not sure when, but we are going to deal with the new field. It's not new to you all. The word genetics isn't new. But what you don't know about is the bioelectronics and the bio readings of genetics. That's new to you, because you're only told about less than 10% of our DNA construct. You don't even know that there's 93% of our DNA that is not being talked about to you as the public. I happen to be aware of some of those conversations only because my association within public health and other public health practitioners. You all, we're not dealing with our genetics. And because we're not dealing with our genetics, we're not dealing with the potential of who we are as spiritual beings having a human experience. That's right, I said it. Now, I know you just said, what is she saying, spiritual? Yes, I did. Who you are spiritually is more than who you are as a human being. And I'm not just preaching. I'm giving real talk on real emphasis here. So we're going to deal with that in a show, on one of the shows coming up here on CAN TV Live. And I want you all to know that we really thank you all for being a part of Tacts. If you have more specific questions, you can contact me at taxforus@gmail.com. I prefer email. Again, I want to thanks up to our Charles Patton, our Vice President, the People's Counselor. If you want to talk to him about more issues, there's his phone number. And again, I want to thank you all. In 2018, we are moving forward, honey. I'm all the way up. Thank you so much for viewing us. We hope that this new year makes a new you. And guess what? We are here to serve you. Thank you so much. Sister Yaa, wrap it up and out.